And
Oh boy, I tell you, good morning to you. I know you probably went and looked for the chat room, but you saw nothing, don't it?
yeah, this morning I did. I My plan was to be in the chat room early so that if any little mishap happened, it would
Mm.
happen early.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just can't avoid the mishaps. Sometimes the mishaps are part of the journey.
Yes, indeed. Well, I tell you something. A couple of days ago, we started to see some hiccups happening. Toronto Queen called and said, "Oh, lad, such and such is happening." But then yesterday, we had Steven Souza, and it worked. But then near the end of the show, things started to go bad. And this morning, I saw nothing. So I went to a couple other sites that I know use the same chat and go um, company. And I put in their website and nothing came up. So I got the impression something is happening. So what I did, I just went to my old Ustream chat room and just took the codes and dropped it in place. So this is a temporary. I don't know what we're going to use going forward. But if you're in there, it's not that bad to use. Once you get used to it, there's like a black bar right up the top where you can click and see how many people. And right now there are 24 persons in the chat room. Ladies and gentlemen, Empress T. She's embraced us over the past 3-4 weeks with some amazing information. Take it away, Empress.
Okay. I just wanted to say, I don't know where Tatango comes from, but I know that out on the West Coast they had a lot of weather issues, and so a lot of those
Technology.
servers and hosters that came out of that area were knocked down. Not just Tatango, there's other websites, web hosting sites that were also knocked out. So it could be possible
Good
that
point.
it's something like that going on with
Good,
the weather.
good observation. Wasn't aware of that. So
hmm
it's quite possible that's what's going on. Then. All right. Well, there are 24 persons in the chat room, people from Germany all over. So take it away.
Okay. Good morning, everyone, and blessings. I just want to start by saying, thank you once again, Ruler, for this opportunity to come and share these little tidbits and I guess little seeds of thought with everyone. And thank you, everyone, for coming and listening and being open to what I have to say and what I have to share with you. I wanted just to recap a little bit what higher frequency is all about. Basically, we're going to be talking about ways to keep our body, our mind, and our souls on a higher frequency. And by that, I mean keeping ourselves elevated, more enlightened, living a more peaceful, happy existence, opposed to being bitter and angry and, no faith, lack of spirituality. So we started out speaking about spirituality, the importance of the connection, the spiritual connection, because we are not just ourselves. We are not just our physical bodies. There is more to it, and there is a higher power and a higher order, and we have to acknowledge that. So we started with the spirituality, and then we went to the body, because the body is what houses the spirit, basically. And so if your body is not functioning properly, then your spirit is not really in good safekeeping, so that, everything around it is not really a good environment. If you like in your spirit to like a seed, your body would be the womb around it. So you want it to be filled with the best nutrients. You want the best air, best quality water, best quality food. So we discussed eating whole foods, having good quality water, enough water, fresh air, sleep, basic things that we take for granted every day. We take our bodies for granted because I don't know why, but we do. But our bodies were given to us. We didn't buy them. We can't buy them. True, they can make adjustments and now, corrections, but we still have not been able to go and purchase a body. You cannot buy a body. So the body that we have, we need to take good care of it and not take it for granted. Along with the body and the spirit are our thoughts, our mind. And so last week we discussed taking control of our thoughts. You are the ones that control what goes on around you. You are the one that controls your thoughts. But we have become so accustomed to just living on autopilot that we just allow our bodies to just move. We don't think anymore. We don't make any decisions. We're not even awake. So I encourage you to touch your body. If you find yourself in a situation that is unbelievable to you, touch yourself. When you're sleeping and someone touches you, you wake up. It's the same effect. If you find yourself in a negative stream of thought, touch yourself. Wake yourself up. Stop the thought pattern and change it. You have the power to do that, so take a hold of it. So now we come to this week where I wanted to discuss the ego.
My favorite topic, the ego.
And I know that you've heard me say it several times, ego, ego, ego. Right. And that's basically because now I have trained myself to hear when people are speaking with their ego or if they're really speaking from their heart. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So here's the thing. What is ego? To the psychiatrist, the psychologist, it's one of the three divisions of the psyche. So you have your ego, the id, and the superego. Uh-huh. But it's also that part of yourself that isolates itself from the world. It's your superiority complex. It's the part of you that makes you feel like you are better than everything and everyone, and only your word, only your way is what matters. That's what's right. It doesn't even matter if it's right or not. It's your way. Mm-hmm. And so there's where it becomes dangerous, because there's good ego and there's bad ego. Just mm-hmm. like we have our two basic emotions, the love and fear. So that someone who's operating from a place of fear all the time, they're going to be working with bad ego. And basically what I mean by that is that they're not working or operating from a place of love. Everything that they do is from a place of fear and insecurity. They're on defense all the time. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So, okay, so you following me so far, right?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
So when you have that, basically you start to have an alienation. Uh-huh. Because if you're feeling that you're better than everyone and everything around you, then you're not going to be open to anything or anyone around you. You're not going to be open to what they say. You're not going to be open to what they show you. You're just not going to be open. So you start to close yourself off. Right. But in addition to closing yourself off from people, you alienate yourself from God as well. Mm-hmm. Or should I say the spirituality? Because I can feel right now the ego people saying, God, which God? Oh, not that God. What God is she talking about? Okay. And that's a part of it as well. Uh-huh. Because when you're connected, it doesn't matter what God. What is important is the spirituality, that you acknowledge a higher presence. You could call God bliggity blue. If you want God to be bliggity blue, and that's what keeps you spiritually grounded, it's bliggity blue. So to me, it doesn't matter which God, what God. It just matters that the acknowledgement of the spiritual is there.
Right. So again, those people who don't believe, well, God could be anybody. That's what they taught me in school. You can have your God as anything, a chair, a piece of furniture, the higher being, whatever. But the bottom line is, ego is something that really can, it has to do with what? You use the word inferiority complex?
It cannot acknowledge any God presence or any higher spiritual presence because they are the highest presence.
Okay.
So that, it's dangerous because lots of people say, oh, I don't need religion. This religion is wrong. That religion is wrong. Okay, true. But it's not about the religion. Uh-huh. It's about the spirituality of it. So now I don't want to get stuck on that one point. I wanted to go on. Mm-hmm. Again, so that when it's negative ego, it's more defensive behavior. It's more hostile. It's, bullying tactics, those types of things. You know what I'm saying? Those people are constantly ready to argue. And you can also attribute a lot of what's going on with the police to ego. It's like a collective ego. They're fixated on the authority when it's not supposed to be about that. Mm-hmm. And so what happens is they collectively get fixated on that one point and they become, defensive with it. Now they isolate themselves, right? Think about how the police operate. They're their own little gang, basically.
But let me ask you this though. But is there a difference? What if someone is very, very confident in a point, in an argument?
That's exactly my point too. Uh-huh. You can be. Now the fact that you put confidence in there is what changes it. Because now it's no longer ego. It becomes something else. It's more self-respecting, because if you do have a valid point, because, some points are valid. Mm-hmm. And I can hear the egomaniac saying, oh, rubbish, my points are valid. I have every reason to believe what I believe. I can show you a million documents and this, that, and the other that says my point is valid. And that's all well and good. Mm-hmm. But in the same token that your points are valid, someone else's points are valid as well. And so when you are confident about your points, you don't have to ram it down anybody's throat. You can present it, and then your self-respect, which is positive ego, will allow you to accept whether the other person accepts it or not. It's not going to interfere with you. It doesn't have anything to do with you. You presented a point of view, and that's it, and that's the difference. So that when it's confidence, it's not aggressive, it's not hostile, and it's not bullying. It's more or less a conversation, and it's more from love than anything.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. All right, folks, it's 10:45, and you're listening to Empress T with a weekly rendition of Higher Frequency. And she's presenting her material in the form of like a university presentation. She has a series going on, so she ties them together. And this week she's covering ego. Continue, Empress.
Okay. So, So that basically what I wanted to, for us to be mindful of and try to manage our ego. There's lots of times when you can feel your ego, you can feel it immediately. You're having a conversation with someone, and they say, "Oh, I disagree."
Right.
Now, if your ego is in check, you're going to say, "Oh, well, okay, I understand. Well, what is your take on it?" And then you're open to listening. You don't have to buy into what they say any more than what they have to buy into what you have to say. But the point is that you don't have to argue the point of, oh, my point is right, and you have to accept it, because that's not what is important. What is important is the connection, the love. And when you have that connection spiritually and you understand your place, your order, or as they say in the family, stay in your place, when your ego is in check, you can remain in your place. Everyone else has a place. You are more respectful of everyone's place. It's not about, oh, I am the greatest, I am the greatest, I am the greatest. So that we want to, like I said, to manage our egos. Be mindful of what we're saying, how we're saying it. You don't have to always compete. You don't always have to compare yourself with others. You know what I'm saying? You don't always have to be right. Sometimes you could just be. Other people are. You know what I'm saying? You have to have the respect enough for yourself to respect other people's points of view. So that was really my point about ego. And I think also in the video clip that you put, Farrakhan even said that if we could just keep our egos in check, a lot of the hostility that goes on wouldn't happen. A lot of the alienation that goes on wouldn't happen. Negative egos are responsible for broken families, broken friendships, broken relationships. Most of the times, when you look at your broken relationships and your broken friendships, if you could trace it back, because sometimes you can't even trace it back to where it fell apart, it was usually about nothing.
No. Let me ask you this question. Myself and Music Junkie is having a discussion about music. And I am confident that my point is accurate, based on research. But he's telling me, no, ruler, on a certain this did not take place at this particular time spot. And he's also exuding his confidence that he's right. How do you characterize a dialogue like that?
That is what you call a dialogue, a positive dialogue. He's not saying, you jerk off, you better listen to me, I know what's best, you're not. There's the difference. It's the behavior behind it. It's the delivery. It's not so much the content of the conversation. It's the exchange. It's the way that it's done.
No. What if one has a lot of passion developed presenting this stuff? Like me, I present a lot of myself with a lot of passion because that's me. No, how do you address that situation? That scenario?
The same thing. Passion is passion, but you have positive passion and you have negative passion. You can say, oh, my children, drink this water. It's so good for you. It'll make you feel good. Or you can say, you better drink this water. If you don't drink it, I'm going to... You understand what I'm saying? So it's the delivery. It's still the same message. You still want them to drink the water, but it's how you're presenting it. And you can still have passion. Both of them were passionate, but it was where they came from. One comes from a place of fear and hostility, whereas the other one came from a place of love.
All right, yeah. On the other hand, on the other side of the spectrum, you have individuals who are soft-spoken, who are quiet. They don't go through with that forceful delivery. Can those persons also be? Are there scenarios that those persons could be defined as being ego?
Those people, to me, have excellent management of their ego. You don't always have to be loud. You don't always have to be, competing and being right. That right there is one of the biggest ways of managing your ego. Just be you. You can just be content with your own thoughts. That's someone who is content with who they are, regardless of what anyone feels or thinks. They know their place, they know their connection, and they're good with it. You could say you like them or don't like them. It won't make any difference. They still know who they are. That's called being you.
Okay. All right. We have a lot of persons in the chat room. Some people say they're having computer issues. I just get a couple of messages on Facebook. And I also want to welcome Mr. Music Junkie or Perennial Winner. The word is humble. No. The word humble, is that would be the opposite of ego?
Well, see, now, ego is good. There's good and bad ego.
Right.
So humble is an indication of good ego, yes.
Okay.
So someone who's humble is not fearful to ask for help. Someone, if you can go and say to someone, brother, we are really in a bad position. My family needs some food or whatever, anything. That's not lack of ego. That's great ego and humility. Because you know yourself, you're rooted, you understand the connection. You came from a place of love for your family to a place of love called family because you call him brother for something that you need. So humble, humility, all those things are good ego, good positive ego. Those are the things that'll get you far. Those are the things that repair relationships. When you cannot be humble, you cannot repair your relationship. How many times have people had arguments and they let it get so far? And if they could just go and say, you know what, I'm sorry. If they can humble themselves enough to say, I'm sorry, they can repair a lot of the stuff. People want to be right. People want to be right. They want to be the most important. They want to be God and not understanding their spiritual connection and their place. You got to know your place. They always tell you that in family. Know your place. Know your place, right?
Okay. Let's take it. And I know in your presentations in the past, you've always tried to tie in your examples with work. Many of us do work. We're out there engaging with other people at work, your boss, your peers, and so forth. What would you suggest for someone who has this, pompous, bright, forceful, egotistical feel that they want to get ahead? What would you say to them in the workplace?
Repeat the question, I'm sorry.
Okay, many of us work. You've always related some of your examples with people working, and I'm saying you have individuals that are at work, and in order for them to get ahead in the design, for example, or coming up with a new approach or something, or a new architecture for something, do you say that while at the workplace, your ego should be checked equally as if you're in a social setting, like you're talking to your brethren?
Always, always. I can give you an example.
Uh-huh.
Ego is good. Positive ego is ambition. Yes, that's the drive to get you where you want to go. Right. When I think of an example like that, okay, in business, it's not going to be the one that you think. I'm going to give you one like a gangster.
Mm-hmm.
Here's an example. Mm-hmm. They want to aspire to be the best boss, the top boss, the mob boss, right? They want to control everything. Right. And so they're at first it starts out good. Everything goes good for them. They start making all this money. Even sometimes businesses, okay, we could use really any business, and things start to work well for them. But then their ego starts to get out of balance. Mm-hmm. And now they start becoming a little arrogant. You know, they're starting to reach a little where they want to go. They're getting a little closer to their goal. They pass some people. You know, they might have gotten that position. They bypassed 2 people. Now they got that position. They bypassed those 2 people. Mm-hmm. But now they're being arrogant to those 2 people because they bypassed them. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you have to keep it in check, because what's going to happen is the arrogance is going to start to take over. Now you're dealing with those people differently. So now before, where people were looking at you saying, wow, what a great person, he's inspirational, I admire his ambition. Now they're saying, look at this son of a gun, what an arrogant SOB. I don't want anything to do with him. What gives him the right to talk to me like that? So that, yes, when you are climbing up, when you are achieving any level of success, any type of position, you must always be aware of your ego. And you will know if it's positive or negative by the relationships you have. When you start to feel dread to go to work, oh, God, this one's going to get on my nerves. I can't stand this one. I can't stand that one. Check yourself. Is it really them, or is it really you? And are the things that you're mad about, are they really real? Can you get past it? You're there to do your job. So if you stay focused on what the goal is or what the project is, and don't allow your ego to get in the way, it shouldn't even affect you.
Mm-hmm. No, let me ask you this question now. You or I, a couple, 2 persons talking, debating, a topic, and at some point, one of the 2 persons said, you're too egotistic, you're full of ego. How you see that playing out? Or how can... Yeah, because that does happen. You know, people are talking about a subject matter, and somebody say, boy, I'm ego take over and all them things there.
So what are you saying? How does the other person stop the conversation and listen to it? Because if you're talking about a topic and you start to converge to the point where voices are now being raised and you're saying you're stupid, you don't know, this one, that one, that's ego. That's an argument. You're no longer having a constructive conversation. That's not to say that people don't argue. We're all going to have differences of opinions. That's what makes us different. I could like chess. I could like the color red. Mm-hmm. There might be 5 other people in the chat room that like chess as well and like the color red. Mm-hmm. But then they might not like rice and black beans. Mm-hmm. But if my ego in check, it doesn't even matter. They're not me. I'm me. They have a right to like what they want and what they like, and I have the right to like what I want. True. But the difference is that if we can understand that we all have a right to be who we are, which comes from a place of love, then you can have a constructive argument. I'm not saying that it's bad to argue. I'm saying to manage your ego, know where you're speaking from when you speak to people and when you deal with your family and your loved ones and your business people. Just be mindful. Am I speaking from a place of ego? You'll know, because is your heart racing? Are you angry? Do you really want them to believe you? Have you presented a real fact, or are you just now at this point just so angry that they're not buying into what you're selling, that you're just calling them anything you want, that you're raising your voice because now you just want them to be quiet? You're not telling me. You're not listening. I know better than you. Then then that's ego. That's something different.
All right, let me ask you this. You're the expert. You talk about managing one's
Not
ego.
an expert.
for now. You talk about managing one's ego. Personal question to you. Do you ever find yourself not being able to manage your ego at certain points where you, say you're in a dialogue with somebody or discussing something and it kind of got to a point where it got overheated? Do you ever find yourself not being able to walk away as you suggest?
At this point, I don't walk away. I most likely laugh first because I can detect it usually before the other person detects it. Right. And to me, it indicates that they realize that they lost the argument or that they even forgot what they were talking about. Right. How many times have you been in an argument and you just forget? Mm-hmm. You're just like, wait a minute, what were we talking about? And the thing leaves you. So me now, no, I most likely want to point out to the person that we got off track. And if it's a topic that I was, passionate about or that I'd like to learn more about, I'm going to try and get them back on track. And that's because I always try to operate from a place of love, so that the people that I'm talking to and dealing with, they're also coming from a place of love. And we can respect our differences and opinions. But sometimes I just want to hear it. You never know what you're going to learn. And that doesn't mean that I have to internalize everything that they say. I could just take a little piece of it. It's just like a recipe. Recipes are made by bits and pieces of different components. So the point is to be open, though. Once you're open, the nature of the conversations change. The nature of the arguments change. Families argue all the time. But because the basis and the foundation is love, it's not a place of ego. You don't hate them because they don't agree with you. You just don't agree with them.
All right. Folks, it's 11 o'clock. We're speaking with Empress D. We have a ton over 25 people in the chat room exchanging information. They're all ego. All of them people in the chat room, ego. Trust me. All right. Let me say this. Again, Empress, it's up to you how long you want to take it. Because like I said, you go as long as you want. Let me just, you probably are not seeing the chat room, but let me see if I can pick up one and two. Royalo says, are we talking about security issues as opposed to ego? Is there a difference between security of oneself versus being an egotistic person? That's
exactly it. Someone whose ego is out of balance is not as secure, not as confident with whatever it is that maybe they're talking about or whatever it is that they're, going through. It does come from a place of fear. And also understand that I'm saying not all ego is bad. I'm saying that there is a difference between negative ego and positive ego. The negative ego is going to make you feel that you're like the best overall. Anything that you say, everything that you do is just the best. But those people have to remember, you didn't just make this world today. The world was here before you came. The world is going to be here after. So, you can't be God. You can't be the force. That's just not possible.
All right. Listeners, if you'd like to call in and present, I don't know, probably I'm jumping the gun here, but if you want to just present a quick question to Empress T, I think she may take that question over the telephone line, and the number is 770-744-2154. 770-744-2154. Use your ego and give us a call and let us hear. If you have any comment, if you have any difference with what she said. I see
in the room that Librock is saying something about someone has to, our relationship is strained because he always has to have the last word. Someone. Yeah, like with that, if you know that someone has to have the last word, if you love that person, let them have it. Does it really matter to you if they have the last word? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you can just concede and just move on. Because what happens, too, is that those people tend to be stuck. They're stuck. They are really, really stuck. And that is the difference with positive ego. It's ambition. So that means it's moving. It has momentum. It constantly changes. Anyone that really has any good ideas or thoughts know that those thoughts evolve every day. If we just got stuck on one thought, like with the thought of electricity, if the person didn't evolve and develop that thought, we wouldn't have any life. It would still just be a thought. So that you have to understand that we have to be able to move on. You have to pick and decide. Is this worth getting stuck here with this person on this one point and beat this dead horse, or can I just overlook this one thing and just let them be right? Because for whatever reason, they need to be right. But they'll see and feel with the security of my love, but that's not what's important.
No.
What's important is the connection that we have and that we're able to move on.
No, interesting. All right. There are instances where some of us are in, it's like a boss, for example. I'm working for you. You know, you're my boss, right? And we have 10 of us working under you on whatever your project is. Is there a point where you as the boss then, and no, this is not Empress T, a boss. Let me use the term a boss. Is there a point where a boss should show off his or her ego because he's a boss? Because, you know, the boss has to have that assertiveness and the take control and be confident that, yeah, what going on is this. Is there a difference there where...
Yeah, the difference, again, is negative or positive. If the person has positive ego, they're going to exude the confidence. You're not going to have to say, I'm confident. You're going to exude the confidence, and you're going to speak confidently. You're not going to need to belittle your employees. You're going to be able to talk to them, accept their ideas, and present yours, but you are the boss. That doesn't take away from who you are. You still have that right. You still have that position, but it doesn't make you any superior.
Right.
It's a position. So definitely, and you can tell which businesses have management that are in check because it's a harmonious environment.
Interesting. Yeah, well,
it's rare. It's rare, but it's a harmonious environment. But then again, like I was talking about last week with the power of thought, you can change the environment just by changing how you fit in. Because see, what happens is in a work environment, you get locked into a pattern of behavior. You have your complainer, you have your climber, you have your overachiever. You understand? You have the different people that play their roles. Change up your role, change up your place, change up your position in it, and everything has to change because now you force those people to change their response and their reaction. Now they have to respond. They can't react anymore because you changed it. You didn't do the same thing. You didn't say the same thing.
Yeah, well, hey, for all you folks that are listening, I'm quite sure you must pick up some tips here in terms of what she's saying. All of us have ego. Me have ego. You have ego. Everyone, they're good ego and bad ego. At least it should go away. You should take that message away that every one of us have ego at some point. But so we manage the ego is the key thing I hear you saying.
Yes, definitely.
All right. No, you can continue if you have more data. I was just going to ask you, going forward, what you have for next week. And just finish your dialogue anyway, because like I said, you can take it up to 12 o'clock anytime you want. If anybody wants to call in before we lose Empress T, the number is 770-744-2154. Go ahead, Empress.
Someone had a question here. What about those who make up their own rules? The same thing. The same rules apply to those making up the rules. Are they hostile? Is it defensive? Are you coming from a place of love or from a place of fear? Because you can have rules that are loving and are meant to provide safety and guidance. And then you can have some rules that are just meant to restrict and bully and just, have people resort to what you want them to do. So next week, what I wanted to talk about is the love and fear, those two basic emotions, and how pretty much everything stems from those. And once you make the deliberate choice to be mindful of where you're operating from, fear or love, you'll see that the things in your life will start to change. When you operate from fear, there's no movement there. That's stuck energy because you're fearful. When you operate from love, you're open, you're more receptive, you can move. There's movement, there's growth, there's life. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to talk about that next week, love and fear. And then also, I tried my best. I'm not the most technological person, but I tried my best to get a little Facebook page up there. I'm going to, from time to time, be posting up links to information that I talk about for people that want to look into it more. And, I encourage you to look into it more. If it resonates with you at all, any of what I say to you, if any of it resonates with you, good or bad, go look it up. See for yourself. It's resonating for a reason. It's resonating because it's real and it's true. And maybe you felt it, but you didn't have the ability to develop the thought. And there's what I'm saying. If you have to be open, your ego cannot be so closed off and restricted that you're not open to learning and to developing and growing.
Mm-hmm. All right. The Facebook page. So is it a page that? Can you have one called High Frequency? You'd like folks to come in and like that page? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the Empress T. You can go there. I'm going to be putting in, like I said, I'll be posting up little videos and things that tie into some of the things that I talk about. Some of my mentors that I follow, because I follow people too, and I do my research. If I have an issue with someone, or and I'm not able to apply my wonderful practices, I go and figure out, is it me first of all, or is it them? And usually it's not me, but it's usually them. But I have to work with them, and because I do operate from a place of love, I'd like to be able to understand and be able to work with everyone, and not have an ego that is so closed off.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. All right, folks, you heard it. Empress T, I have frequency. Make sure you check her out next week. Are you tracking any other comments? Because there's so much question and comments in the chat room. It's long.
I can't see. Let me see. Those who are able to climb up the will always find ways to pull it up after them or selectively lower it. Yeah, but those that climb up the ladder the wrong way, TQ, if you notice, they never stay up there long. They never stay up there long. It might seem like long to you, but I don't know. I've always been blessed with the ability to watch those people that go up wrong tumble down. And, I don't laugh anymore, but I used to say, It happens. It's inevitable. Bad begets bad. You reap what you sow. You might feel like they're accomplishing something, but they've accomplished nothing, because once they've alienated you, then they're also alienating other people. Don't worry. It's only a matter of time. And all the little people that they pull up with them, they're going to be falling right down with them.
That's true. Music Junkie says, some people have two rules. Number one, they are always right. Number two, if you think they're wrong, then see rule one. Very true.
So where was it? I can't see it.
Yeah, that was.
They always like to. You think they're wrong.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. And those are the ones ego. I'm talking about.
That's their ego right there.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
so the thing is to just be open, people. Just the world is not that bad. Things are not that bad, and again, we have more power than what you have been trained up till now to believe. You can change your environment. You can change the world. You can change your response to it. Stop reacting. Start waking up. Like I said, if you find yourself in an argument and you really don't want to be in it, because some people like to argue. I don't know why, but some people like it. It makes them feel alive, but I would rather feel alive moving forward. So I'm going to grab my knee or my shoulder or my arm and wake myself up and just make a decision right then and there. Is this worth pursuing, or can they just have this? Because really, I have other things to do.
Let me say for me before we wind down in 2 minutes. You see, for me personally, Sister Empress, one of the things I do not like people who are fake. People who are phonies and are fake. I just can't take them people. So I am not going to be
You
open.
say who are fake?
Yeah, fake. You have a lot of fake people out there. So,
But what it is that it's not so much that they're fake, Rula. It's that they got fixated on an idea,
right?
And then their ego started taking over because it was a good idea when they first thought about it.
Well, when I say
but
fake,
they didn't develop it.
I'm talking about people who are more hypocritical. You know?
I agree. And those are the ones we want to reach out to. Those are the ones that we need them to understand because they're in our circles and it rubs us the wrong way.
Yeah, and you know, look, like you said, there are many positive things that one could go out there and do, engage in. And at a certain point, I tell myself it makes no use. It makes no sense for me to, exhibit all my energies there when I can be doing, other positive things, right? Because some people, I tell you, man, you see on Facebook, if you want about fake and ego, and people are not going to know it, that's what you forgot. That's what you see them.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And like you, I see you as an example of positive ego. You have ambition, you're acting, you're not just sitting around talking. One indication, too, of people that have an imbalanced ego is that they tend to live in the past. Oh, I did this, I did that, and back in the day, okay, back in the day, but you're here right now, and you have to live.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting dialogue based on the chat room's response again, and you've hit a home run again. What, is it the third week? Yeah, the third week now, and we all love the information, and I know many people are listening across the board. In Europe, all over, because you're on the internet on many stations, and I'm sure some of the people who are listening are, taking notes, and hopefully they'll change their ways. Myself too, every one of us. It's not just So I want to say we appreciate all that input again. Any final wrap up? Go ahead.
That was it, and again, like I said, people these are just little seeds of thought that I share with you, things that I think about. If I wasn't on here talking and sharing with you guys, I would be talking about this stuff anyway. But it's stuff that resonates and makes us feel good and makes us feel better. I like feeling good. I'm 50 years old. I intend to be here a very long time, but I'm not going to be one of those miserable, bitter, old-looking, dried-up hags. I'm going to look today. I'm going to look then the way that I look today because I'm going to preserve and take care of myself and my loved ones, and y'all are considered my loved ones. So what is loving to me, I want to share with you all. And again, thank you for this opportunity.
Well, before you go, let me just say I echo your sentiments. You're absolutely right. I think it's so easy to feel good, but people don't realize the tools to make you feel good. Very easy to feel good, People, it's all when I get 1-2 hours sleep, I'm up bubbly all the same way, man.
Yeah.
Because I'm always thinking forward of, what can I do to make me feel good? There's a lot of things happening around me. My neighbor gone to Florida for 2 weeks. Every time them say go over there, go check them house, pick up them garbage, and them go thing there. I do this stuff with Palace, number of things. I don't want to go through all of it. Those things make you feel good, folks. So, folks, if you just start with one little thing, that one little thing make you feel good, then you say, wow, is that what it feels like? Let me do something else. And you get this perpetual feel-good feel. I mean, yeah, man, it works. I'm looking forward. I was at Jose Feed the Hunger a couple of weeks ago at Thanksgiving, where we fed, not me, but, the corporation fed 25,000 homeless people. And I can't wait for December the 25th come for me for go down. As a matter of fact, they sent out something else about they want people to come and prepare some of the boxes for stuff. And I'm looking at my schedule to see if I can go there. You see, when you go there and you do that, it makes you feel good. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, folks, we've
Well,
recorded
keep
this.
your thoughts on a higher frequency. That was it, Rula. I will see you all next
Yeah,
week.
yeah, man. Thank you so much. And we've recorded this, folks. Empress T, higher frequency. And if it's Empress T and 10:30 on a Friday, you know it's the one and only third world with sense of purpose. Empress T, blessed love and thanks once again, all right? All right, we've lost her momentarily. All right, folks. Well, folks, we want to thank her for, again, another splendid presentation